Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it, your home for all the latest news and conversation around your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. And this channel is powered by BetUS. Up to a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000. It's all at BetUS. The link is in the description on this video. Who dat?
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
3 o'clock Central Time has come and gone, meaning the time for NFL teams to cut their rosters from 90 to 53 has come and gone, meaning there's about 1,000 free agents around the NFL right now. And, of course, the Saints and every other team are going to be scouring free agency, the waiver wire, to see who they might be able to add to better their team for a season that starts in less than 2 weeks. Actually, the season starts a week from Thursday. The overall season, of course, the Saints will begin a week from Sunday. Let's run through some of the big names, and I'll go offense, then defense, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of how today went for the New Orleans Saints, because there were some interesting ones. And keep in mind, some of the names that I'm going to mention who were cut or waived today are certainly practice squad candidates, practice squad possibilities. So we'll kind of go with that as we'll catch you up as we move along through this, okay? So the Saints do, in fact, keep 4 quarterbacks if you include Taysom Hill as a quarterback. But Derek Carr, Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, Taysom Hill, they keep them all. That's no surprise. You were not going to run the risk of waiving Rattler or Haener and running the risk of another team signing them to their 53. That happened 2 years ago with Ian Book, and the guy who used a 4th-round pick was gone after a year because he didn't clear waivers. So no surprise there that they were keeping those guys. The question is, who's number 2? We don't have that answer yet. Running backs was going to be an interesting. By the way, let me mention this. Go to LouisianaSports.net, right at the top of the homepage. Our guy Ross Jackson did an awesome job all day updating as the news was going real time. So if you want a full list real time on the tracker, it's right there at the top page of LouisianaSports.net. So running backs. The Saints are keeping Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, and Jordan Mims. So the name I didn't mention was Kendre Miller. The Saints have designated Kendre Miller to start the season on IR. So that means he, provided that they use one of their spots where they designated to return, IR with a designation to return, meaning he starts the season on IR, but would be able to join the team and join the active roster later in the season. So this is probably a deal where Kendre Miller for the start of the season would be ready, but you give a very deserving roster spot to Jordan Mims, who is consistent and very good for you in the preseason, and you don't have to cut Kendre Miller and run the risk of him signing somewhere else if you couldn't get him through waivers on your practice squad. So Kendre Miller starts the season on IR. Disappointing that Jacob Kibodi, James Robinson both cut. I know Kibode's the local guy, the Louisiana product, who was running back for the Raging Cajuns and is now was an undrafted free agent with the Saints. Scored 2 touchdowns on Sunday in the Dome. He is a quintessential practice squad candidate. That is the guy that you say, okay, we didn't have a spot for you on the 53. Hang tight. We're going to sign you back to the practice squad. Because if you have an injury, a bumps, bruises, something like that, that's a guy that you'd love to have in your organization so that you could promote if you need him. They do keep Adam Prentice at fullback. Here's your wide receivers. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Cedric Wilson, Bub Means. We're waiting on word on Shaq Davis, Samson Nakua. We'll get that. Mason Tipton, according to Nick Underhill, is expected to make the roster, as is A.T. Perry. That means you'd be looking at Olave, Shaheed, Wilson, Perry, Tipton, then Bub Means, Shaq Davis, Samson Nakua. We don't have word on yet, so we'll wait on all of those decisions as we get them coming through real time. Again, the cut deadline was 7 minutes ago, so a lot of this has happened. The news just hasn't broken yet, so we're still keeping an eye on the receivers. Same with tight ends. We know that Michael Jacobson was waived. We're assuming Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, Dallin Holker will all make the team. No word yet on Mason Fairchild or Kevin Rader. On the offensive line, the big surprise here was Kyle Hergel. Kyle Hergel was the UDFA out of Boston College, who we talked about. We had him on the show after the draft. Kyle Hergel was waived by the New Orleans Saints. That is certainly a guy you would assume would be a practice squad candidate for New Orleans, provided he clears waivers. Fuanga, Lucas Patrick, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Trevor Penning, Nick Saldiveri, Landon Young, Oli Udoh, Mark Evans. They're not all going to make the team, but those are 9 guys right there that we still haven't heard yet. So the roster cut guys, Oli Udoh, Mark Evans, Landon Young, we'll see how that all goes. We'll get back to the video in just a quick second. Thanks so much for watching. Love telling you about our friends at BetUS. Great partner here on AFR Saints all football season long. They still got that great deal for you. Again, 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Y'all, we're creeping closer to week 1. You want to bet Saints-Panthers? Great opportunity to do it right now. Check out BetUS. Easy. All you do is you go to the football tab, hit the drop down, NFL odds week 1. There's Ravens and Chiefs. How about that? Champs are a 3-point home favorite. No surprise there. But you go to that first football Sunday, there it is. Panthers and Saints. Who dat's in the Dome? 3.5-point favorite. Total on that game is 40. You think there'll be more points? You can bet on it easily with a couple of taps right there at BetUS. And remember, a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. It's available right now at BetUS for our viewers here on AFR Saints. So we'll get back to the video. Be sure to support our great sponsor in BetUS this football season. Now, enjoy the rest of the video. On the defensive side, of note, the Jack Heflin, who made the team last year, he has been cut. The one that was sort of on the fence was Isaiah Foskey. We'll see how that goes. Linebackers, Kalecki Hudson was a guy pushing to maybe earn a roster spot. He's been cut. In the defensive backfield, the biggest surprise was Jonathan Abram. So Jonathan Abram was with Jordan Howden last year, one of your starting safeties. They also released Ugo Amadi, who's been a good special teamer for you. So I don't know what will happen with Ugo Amadi, but Jonathan Abram, this is probably one where they cut him with the idea of re-signing him after this cut down. Let's just be very clear. And Dennis Allen said it throughout camp. Can you play number 13, please? This was Dennis Allen during camp. This is when they brought Justin Simmons in. They were looking at addressing safety with Justin Simmons, and he was asked about the safety spot opposite Tyrann Mathieu.
I haven't seen anything from any one of those safeties yet, okay, probably with the exception of Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, I think ultimately what you're looking for is guys to make plays, guys to have production. So that's interceptions, that's PBUs, that's tackles, guys that are going to play a physical brand of football. Like, those are all the things that I'm looking for, and I'm seeing good things out of the safety position. And yet I haven't seen where somebody's just taken the bull by the horns and, said that this is my job.
So, given that, there was a lot of uncertainty at safety. I still don't believe they're going into this season with only Tyrann Mathieu and Jordan Howden there on the back end. Maybe there's someone they foresee elsewhere, but I think this is probably one of those where you cut him to protect another player, right? There's another player. A lot of this is strategy. There's another player you want to keep on the 53. So as not to risk losing them. So you tell him, hey, we're cutting you. Don't go anywhere because we're going to wait, let all this settle, and then we're going to cut this guy, sign him to the practice squad, and re-sign you. I think that's probably what happens here with Jonathan Abram, but we'll wait and see. The other kind of big surprise here is that they cut Lou Hedley, the punter out of the University of Miami, the Australian, who made the team a year ago. Lou Hedley cut, and so Matthew Hayball looks like he has won that job, and Charlie Smith also was waived, so Blake Grupe has won that job. So the same again, if you look at the announced roster moves, of note, the players that were cut. As we look at it here, Jonathan Abram, Ugo Amadi, I certainly think. Andrew Dowell was interesting, who they just brought back. We'll see if maybe he's a candidate for the practice squad. Players they waived of note: Shaq Davis, Kevin Austin, a couple of receivers who were trying to make their way. Kyle Hergel, who we noted as well. Jacob Kabodi, Samson Nakua was also waived as well, as we're looking at this updated from the team. And then the players that are on IR: Kendre Miller, Cameron Peterson, Kevin Rader and Rajon Wright start the season on IR. So Saints are closer now, and now a whole nother phase of work begins as now you got to go look at what players were cut, look at the waiver wire, and see if there's anybody available that you'd like to add to your roster. And so, as we always say, it's not the final 53, it's the first 53. And today was a big moment for that. Instead of having 3 separate rounds of cuts, it's all in one day, and it makes a very frenetic pace today with some 40-some-odd players hitting free agency for the New Orleans Saints. Thanks so much for watching the video. Remember, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And our channel is powered by BetUS. 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000. All the info and the link in the description below.